All right, we are back with you right now talking to Sam Viscuso, talking about family law and many other issues. We have a question here about grandparents' rights. The question is, do grandparents have any visitation rights in North Carolina? And if so, how do we get visitation?
So, as a matter of course, grandparents do not have an automatic right to visitation with children. There are certain ways that grandparents can seek visitation with minors that they are related to. It's going to depend on a case-by-case basis, and I'd recommend reaching out to an attorney, but the North Carolina judiciary has expanded grandparents' rights in recent years. It is possible, but you're going to have to prove a certain amount of things and have some good documentation in order to pursue that. I'd recommend seeking out local counsel to do that.
And not trying to do it on your own. All right, this person says, at what age does a child have to be to decide if they want to visit the other parent or not?
So there's not a hard and fast rule. Typically, the older the child is, the more weight that a judge may give to that child's testimony as to their reasons why they do or do not want to go visit with a certain parent. But there's not a hard and fast rule. If there's a court order in place, just because your child does not want to go over there, you should still send your child to whatever the court order says. Otherwise, you run the risk of potentially having a contempt motion filed against you.
Okay. This person is asking, can you get your child support payments lowered if you haven't worked much during the pandemic?
You may. So there's a couple of different ways that child support can be enforced through the court. There are local agencies in every county called Child Support Enforcement. You can find the North Carolina AOC. They do have some forms that are available online if you want to make a motion to modify in child support. You'll need to bring in tax documentation. This time of year is a good time to do it because you have all those documents that are relatively recent to show what your earnings are, but you may be able to file a motion to reduce child support payments if you've seen reduced work since COVID started.
This is an interesting question. This person says, I've been separated since 2000. The last I heard from my ex-spouse was 2001. I have tried to locate her but cannot find her. I want to know, how do I go about getting a divorce?
So it's a little bit tricky, but you do have some options. So what you would need to do is find an attorney that, depending on where everybody is located, if you find somebody that can represent you in the area that you last knew that person lived in, they may be able to run some searches to see if any other addresses pop up, and an attorney may be able to consult with you about certain things you may be able to do as far as publication. And publish against that party in order to notify them, and you may be able to do it that way to get them served. And then it sounds like under North Carolina law, you've been separated long enough to be entitled for a divorce.
This person is asking, if the minor children live with me, does that give me full custody of my children? And if not, how should I apply for full custody and visitation of an absent parent when he or she has no address?
So if you've got the kids, then you can do what you want to with the children. Without a formal court order, you don't have any clear delineation as far as who may have legal custody or physical custody of the minor children. And without a court order, both parents have equal rights to do whatever they want with the children. And so if those children are dropped off with a grandparent or a family friend or something like that, and your partner that is lost, that is the parent of that child, shows up, they have the right to remove those children from any person that is not you. So I definitely recommend consulting with an attorney to try to get something in place to get a formal court order that all parties are required to abide by.
All right, we have just a little over a minute. This is an interesting question. What happens if one parent has COVID? Can I withhold my child from going to that parent's house?
Yes, I think that you may run into some issues where the other party, if they're unhappy about it, may try to file a motion for contempt. But if you've got documentation more than just you heard it from some other person that they have COVID, that you would be within your right out of a protection of the child to be justified in withholding visitation if you knew for a fact that they were positive with COVID.
The tricky part, I would be guessing, is how to get that evidence.
That's the tricky part. But how do you find out about it from the beginning? They probably told you. And if they told you, then they're kind of stuck by it.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much for taking all of those family law questions. We will certainly have you back again because we have several more in the queue, so we appreciate that. Thank you for texting in your questions.